Hello, Ate Kyu Kyu. So, I'm at home and there's extended community quarantine. So, baby brother has his Zoom classes, and I think you might be wondering what I'm doing during the quarantine. So, we have our schedule. Sometimes we have online conferences as well. And I also have quarterly exams because what I'm undergoing right now is actually residency training. I'm already a doctor, but I want to be a specialist in dermatology. So after this, when I finish this 3 year um, endeavor, there's another board exam. Oh my gosh, I've taken so many board exams. Then you'll be called a dermatologist, not just a regular doctor. Then if I want to do subspec on derm path, another 1 year and another board exam. So studying, never stops. Looking back to when I was small, um, I grew up by myself. Meaning it's just me, my mom, and my dad, and I didn't really grow up with a sibling or a brother and a sister. There wasn't really anyone to advise me, and because of the age gap with my parents, plus they're not really like the other parents I'm seeing now. That with my other classmates, I learned just now that they hired tutors. Imagine, to get them through high school, college. Like my batchmates right now, I learned that they had tutors. I said, why didn't my mom give me tutors? And also, now there's Kumon. Yeah, I enrolled your baby brother there. I thought, why wasn't there Kumon during my time? It would have, made studying easy for me. Besides that, no one really taught me how to study and what to study. No one, checked if I did my homework or not. They just, it's like they just just go to school and figure things out by myself. So, the topic that I'd like to discuss with you today is what I wish I knew when I was still studying. Okay. So, one of the things I wish I knew would be that to have a healthy mind, you need a healthy body. Studies have also shown that someone who is smart is not someone who spends the whole day studying. It has to be someone who also exercises. So they found out, for example, that this jellyfish, forgot which jellyfish that was, had a small brain because this jellyfish uses it to swim around. But during the life cycle of this jellyfish, when it attaches to a rock and it stops moving, the brain disappears. So a major function of the brain is actually, and a complex, function of it is movement. So it's important to exercise every day if you want to be able to retain things or understand things better. Actually, I think now that I'm almost 40 years old, compared to before, I don't recall myself exercising that much. But I think my metabolism was faster now. I gain weight more easily, and I think it takes me extra effort to study compared if I was studying, back when I was 20 years old, back when I was a teenager. So actually now, I mean, if you're listening to me while you're still young, not yet 20 years old, or maybe in your teenage years, you will be like a sponge when you study. So, first, remember you need your daily exercise. A minimum of 20 minutes a day. You should, sweat. That's what I try to do. You also need to eat healthy. It will be your foundation. Um, right now, that's what I'm trying to do with my food, and that's what I also try with your baby brother. Not just try, but we do make sure that he eats vegetables, he has fruits, cut on junk food, but don't deprive yourself. So we can only try a little junk food, sweets, fast foods. They're not really good and real food. You can have them once in a while, but majority of what you eat should be healthy food, high in fiber, more of vegetables and fruits. Okay, so that would be your advantage. So exercise, food, and also rest. It's important to rest and to sleep at the right time. When I was young, no one was, watching me. I usually sleep late. But, with my reading and now as a doctor, there are hormones that you produce at night, supposedly, in the morning. So it's important that you're asleep by 12. I think 10 would be a good time to have fallen asleep. Then wake up in the morning. And of course, when you've slept, okay, here, I've been cramming sometimes and I haven't finished the scope of the exam and I don't sleep and take the exam. But actually, I've noticed that my grades are higher when I really didn't, even if I didn't read, but I get enough sleep at night. So when you have an exam, you should have a good night's sleep. You should have eaten, you should have exercised every day. Not on the day of the exam, okay? But there. So sleep is important. I don't advise to to lose your sleep. You should get it, and it's not just the time of sleep. Your sleep should be straight. For me, I think my minimum is 6 hours straight. That's good for me. That's good enough for me, but that's my minimum. Of course, 8 hours would be ideal, especially when you're growing and when you're learning a lot. So food, sleep, exercise, so it takes discipline. I could spend the whole day just watching anime or Netflix. That's the in thing right now. Watching Korean dramas, Japanese dramas, Taiwanese dramas, even Filipino dramas. But I have a goal, so I put time each day. So these are now the things so besides the general advice, now would be the things I wish I knew while studying. So because what I'm studying is the textbook, I I did this when I was still a baby and was separated with you. I actually went to Coursera and I studied learning how to learn. So that convinced me a lot about eating healthy, sleeping, exercise, and I also learned about Pomodoro technique. Okay, so Pomodoro, it's Italian if I'm not mistaken, but it means tomato. And it was named after the timer that was shaped like a tomato used by the guy who invented it. Basically, I take 25, I read for 25 minutes straight. Then I take 5 minutes break. So usually after 4 straight sessions, you can take a longer break. So because right now actually I've been trying to figure out what's my average of pages per day because I'm trying to finish 1,000 pages of textbooks and I need to really learn it. So right now I don't know if I can make this any faster. I think my average is 5 minutes per page, but that's a textbook. show you what my textbook looks like. Here, that's the Fitzpatrick. See, it's full of well, there's highlight text, there's some pictures. Okay, of course I'd get more done if it's more pictures compared to text, but I think that's my average. Besides that, I also think that you could learn anything and you need to do spaced repetitions, meaning no one's really I mean me and I think you as well, we're not born with super memory, but with hard work, meaning with spaced repetitions, with discipline, give time to reread it, to really master it, then that's what would separate you from the others. It's the amount of effort, and also to study smart, okay? To not waste your effort when so it's being effective with more effort, working hard, that would produce results with your grades. And some people say that grades are not important. So what's the status of my grades? So I'm not really at the top, but I'm also not in the average. So I'm in the middle. And not really, middle is average, right? I'm above average, but in terms of my ranking, right, that would be for the both board exam and both overall class ranking when I graduated in med school. So it's above average, but it's not in the super high ones. As for you, I think if you for example, now you'd learn this, whereas me, I'm learning it after graduation, after med school, these techniques. If you could apply this in med school, it would be, or in whatever you're studying, it would be great. And besides that, for example, I hope that you consider being a doctor. I'm not sure if I told you in my other videos already, but before I wanted to take fine arts, and then my parents convinced me to be a doctor, and then I learned to love it. I think you learn to love it too. It's very fulfilling. And if there's one thing I wish I knew during med school, if there's something I wish my parents taught me, it would be that there's this review course for US students, the Kaplan USMLE review. So I studied this during my internship, and when I was studying it, I was saying, I wish I learned this while I was in med school, because they explained it very well. The concepts, I felt like I really understood biochemistry, genetics when I studied Kaplan. So yeah, if you're in med school, I think that's a good backbone, or to study it in advance during the summer breaks there. And first aid, USMLE, I don't know if that will change. So during my time in med school, there was no review course. Okay, so everyone was self-studying for the boards, almost everyone. But now there's this top-notch review course that makes it like level ground for everyone. That I learned this from my, I'm actually around 10 years older than my contemporaries, meaning my batchmates, because as you know, I stopped this. I stopped training. I stopped my career when I married your dad. Okay, so now they're 10 years younger, reflecting around the 10 years that I stopped being a doctor. So So now it has changed, but I think the techniques for studying, like the Pomodoro technique, like studying for 25 minutes straight and 5-minute break, I think that won't change. So, and also one thing I seem to do is, before I read something lengthy, I browse through it. I like counting pages, like how many pages will this chapter take. Yeah, I think that would be good to do as well. So there, if try to look for those review courses, be very diligent, and maybe it's another topic when, or I hope I get to talk to you when you'll be thinking of your career, because it's really, I mean, it will really affect your future. So for example, looking back, if I could advise myself back then, I think I should have advised myself to not stop my career. Okay. One thing I learned from what happened with me was that you cannot expect, for example, a fish to be good out of water. Meaning, for example, with me, with where I discovered my likes, my talents are, I wasn't really honed to be good with cooking. I think you'll hear that from your dad. But that doesn't make me a bad person or an inferior person, because I'm good in other things where other people are not, right? So that would be the same for you. You cannot, there's no one who will be very good with everything. You will find your passion. And for example, when you do decide, I think, for example, with regards to cooking, I could do it, but at this time, my effort, my time, my resources, I'm just not putting it into learning how to cook right now. I'm putting it more with the practice of medicine. Okay, so where you put your time, your effort, that's where you'll be good at. And sometimes you will already retain some skills which other people would need time to learn. I think that's your case with drawing. You're already good at it, especially for your age. I saw the drawings you sent me. I saw some of your paintings at school, so they were much better compared to what I could do when I was your age. I also love drawing. That's my hobby. And also I learned that when I was small, I used to buy a lot of art books. But it's still different if someone guides you or if you have a mentor. So I hope you find a good mentor who can show you what's right, what's wrong, and how to get better. There, I think I was looking for a sort of mentor as well when I was in med school. So there, it's also important to be with a group who's competitive, who wants to achieve things. But of course, remember what I said, no one is perfect. You will find where you're good at. But if there's one thing you want to be good at, you need to put effort into it. You need to keep practicing. So in my case, I need to keep on studying. But that's not enough. That's why you have I have the hospital where to train my clinical eye, because not everything could be learned in the books. Okay, there are things you learn from experience. For example, with surgical skills, you cannot learn it all by practicing on banana peels. It's still different when you do it. So there, but of course, the still for exams, you still go back to the book, and exams just don't stop. So I think it would be a good foundation to learn how to study well. So here's a sample now of, actually I studied late today, my Pomodoro schedule. So I write how many Pomodoros I'm able to do in a day. Now that, for today, my schedule is just to read as much as I can, study as much as I can. And here, my scope. So I made I place the topics and how many pages there's. So I guess for this part there's 163 pages. And some random notes. So I love using this planner to monitor my progress, so I can gauge more or less up to what extent I could read. So here we had the histopath review. I think this was the most that I was able to do. What it was, although I want to push myself some more. So it was 50 pages in a day, but actually I had to the exam was on Thursday, but I had to rest afterwards. I think I didn't have a hard copy of that book, and the scanned copy wasn't the clear one. It was literally like a scanned picture of the book, not really an ebook copy. So I think I sprained my eyes, and I had the headache 2 days after the exam, so took a long rest. So now, besides that, you have to take care of your eyes. Okay, so a well-lighted environment, but I think that's understood. I'm also the type of person who studies at home and not in coffee shops, not in groups, because I want to be comfortable with. I don't have a lot of distractions at home. This is where so you should also find your study place. Oh, and if there's one thing, I'm also trying to fix my posture. I'm doing some posture exercises. I think I wish someone advised me in my younger years, so that I wouldn't have developed this bad posture. So for you, remember to take care of your posture. It's harder to correct, and it's better to prevent, right? So there I'm going back to reading, to studying. And also, actually, this way I know how many times I've passed through the subject. But once is not enough. Repetitive spaced repetitions is important. I love you very much, Ate Kyu Kyu. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that my video is already long. This is almost worth one Pomodoro session. I'll keep it short for now. I'll send you more messages. Oh yeah, and yeah, this is duster, what I like wearing at home and for sleeping. Love you lots. I hope that I'll be there for you. I hope that you'll be able to find these videos that I made for you. Love you.